Yes.
Motion number 6, have we been following the guidelines?
Yeah. There was some new ones that came out, and that's how we had to readjust the. Yep. Yep, we've been keeping with Mr. Gunn on all of this. To put in their payroll account. Motion by Long Hollow. Agency. Question by Haipa.
Yes.
Woodfield Rondell Jr.? Yes. Milton Owen? Yes. Cheryl Owen?
Yes.
Lisa Jackson,
Yes.
Louis Johnson, Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, moving on to May 5th.
Mr. Vice Chairman,
Yes.
motion number 17, have we got any of those supplies from Hilliard?
Yep.
We did?
Some of the stuff is just the hand sanitizer that you have on the walls that we got, and also for the gun that we are leasing. But most of it is on back order. But I'll get a update on that. On what else we got.
Okay. Thank you.
Motion by Haipa. Second by all agency.
Question.
Question by Long Hollow.
Woodfield Rondell Jr.? Yes. Milton Owen?
Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Lisa Jackson,
Yes.
Louis Johnson, Curtis Bissonnette,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. Moving on to May 7th.
Vice Chairman, on motion number 27, have we heard anything?
Really, we did sign them, didn't we? On the, that we didn't agree with the Nahasda number?
I don't know.
I can check out it, but I know there was letters sent.
Mr. Vice Chairman, motion 29, have we gotten everything then? A breakdown for that?
Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna mention, we can have a meeting at 1 o'clock over that stuff. We're setting up a template right now. Should be done by 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Have it emailed too. Motion to approve by May 7th by Tribal Secretary.
Second.
Second by Tokunawa.
Question.
Question by Long Hollow.
Tribal Secretary, Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Yes.
Milton Owen, Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Lisa Jackson,
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, moving on to May 19th.
Chair, motion number 41. That's on the planning for the Federal Council.
As of right now, we're thinking to keep social distancing. We'll have it in here. And we'll also have the tables and stuff set up out there. Spaced out with the screens. And then if there's any questions or something, we could have Tom out there ask the question.
Mr. Vice Chairman, motion number 43. Are those on hold yet?
Mike, can you help us out with the status of the FEMA trailers?
Yes.
Yep, so real quick, I did hand out the work order for the transport of the 4 FEMA trailers. It's basically just a work order, it's not a contract. The motion was already made to authorize a payment. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that it was in. It came to $39,480, and they're waiting for us to sign this and get it back to them. So payment will be made not until after they're delivered. So it's ready to go. Yep.
Mike, there was a question that came up, something about, are these, I don't know, zones of FEMA or anything like that? Are they,
Climate zone? Yes. So we sent the question off to the BIA, and Art Hacker emailed us back that the Zone 3 is actually rated for the cold weather. So he confirmed that it was for our climate. And I sent the question in through, along with Christine, did some research, and they came back and said, no, we wouldn't give them to you if they weren't. So
okay.
I know there was some concern whether they were like the old ones from like 11 years ago or so. But no, these are rated for this climate. The real issue is down the road, like who's going to be responsible for setting them up and all that. But we can have a meeting with housing and figure that out.
Yeah, just right now for just for placement, I got with Chris Seaboy, and he has a place out at Connection for now.
Yep.
So if you want to get with him to,
Yeah, I talked to him a couple days ago. He sent me a picture and everything, so I'll be sending all that stuff to Ponderosa. If you can sign this later today, and then I'll get it off to them.
you guys want to make a motion for me to sign that? What is it called, Mike?
Ponderosa Services?
Okay.
Yep.
Motion by Haipa, second by Tokunawa. Question by all agency.
Yes. Milton Owen? Yes. Cheryl Owen?
Yes.
Lisa Jackson?
Yes.
Louis Johnson? Curtis Bissonette?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary? Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, any more questions for May 19th? Motion by all agency, second by Tokunawan. Question by Buffalo Lake.
Milton Owen? Yes. Cheryl Owen?
Yes.
Lisa Jackson?
Yes.
Louis Johnson? Curtis Bissonette?
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.? Yes. Tribal Secretary? Mr. Vice Chairman?
Thank you. Next is minutes for May 22nd.
Mr. Chair, we think you carried motion number 48 today.
No, actually, there's this motion, you guys already approved to hire Bruce Jones as the project coordinator. Mike brought it over yesterday for the detention center, and it's signed and done.
There you go.
Mr. Vice Chairman,
Yes.
was that in reference to motion 48?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yesterday we did, the Vice Chairman signed it. This morning Bruce executed his signature. I scanned everything in and emailed a PDF copy to the Vice Chairman, legal, and to Bruce Jones. So we're good to go.
Yes.
On motion number 51, to approve the resolution authorizing a contract for the planning and construction of the emergency COVID-19 tribal justice facility using funds from the Treasury Department Coronavirus Relief Fund payment with corrections. What is the status of that, and is it allowable?
Talking with Steve Gunn, it is, and I believe, Mike, you have that. That's what you're presenting today, right? The motion 51, authorizing a contract for the planning and construction of the emergency COVID-19 travel justice facility.
We have the contracts for the architect and for a project manager. That we'll be presenting those here shortly, but yes, those are ready to go. I don't have a copy of the updated resolution though, but the contract was based on the resolution, so I didn't bring one with though. I can go get a copy and make sure I have it with me.
Yeah. Secretary?
Michael left. Disregard my question. It was for Michael.
Okay. Motion to approve by Travel Secretary, May 22nd minute. Second by Tokunawa. Question by Haipa.
Travel Secretary. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.
Yes.
Milton Owen. Cheryl Owen.
Yes.
Lisa Jackson.
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, moving on, it's minutes for May 27th. Motion made by Haipa for May 27th. Second by Tribal Secretary. Question by all agency.
Winfield Rondell Jr.
Yes.
Milton Owen. Cheryl Owen.
Yes.
Lisa Jackson.
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. May 29th.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Long Hollow. Second by all agency. Question by Haipa.
Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.
Yes.
Milton Owen. Cheryl Owen.
Yes.
Lisa Jackson.
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. Exec resolutions. Yep. Yeah. Motion for executive resolution number 20-05 by Haipa.
Second.
Second by Big Cooley. Question by Tokunawa.
Winfield Rondell Jr.
Yes.
Milton Owen. Cheryl Owen.
Yes.
Lisa Jackson.
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
And the second executive resolution is 20-06. Authorizes submission of application to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration fiscal year 2020 Treatment, Recovery, and Workforce Support Grant. Do you know if it was submitted or not? Is this one of the ones that Sarah was working on? Motion by Haipa. Second by all agency.
Question.
Question by Long Hollow.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Yes.
Milton Owen, Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Lisa Jackson,
Yes.
Louis Johnson, Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary, Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. These were some things that came up with, are we gonna do the one-day powwow? If so, are we gonna, do we need to activate the powwow committee? No?
Have you guys been meeting? Have they been meeting?
I thought you said you guys were only gonna meet, you only,
The question, are the issues Buffalo Lake is bringing up is, are we gonna activate them? And if we activate them, how are we gonna do the payments?
Well, they're gonna have to have a stipend, I'm saying.
Stipends and then budget?
You have to have a budget.
Unless you wanna activate them for one meeting, they can go over and do a budget for a one-day powwow?
Yeah, we could.
Motion on the floor to
Then you
activate.
got, do the powwow on Saturday and softball on Sunday. The softball one, he already has his budget in, that's 7,500.
Okay. Secretary?
If we're going to have a one-day powwow and how are we going to do the social distancing? And what kind of measures are going to be taken to protect the people so nobody contracts the COVID?
Well, there's a lot of things that are gonna take place. You're gonna have restrooms and everything out there, you know. And then you just have to keep everybody apart. Just locals anyway. They gotta open it up. Wide open.
How much will that cost?
Well, that last one we did was what, we budgeted 6,000. It was only about 4,000 at the end.
How will we pay for it?
That's why I said if we can activate them for the one meeting, they can get us the budget. And I can get with Greg to see if it's even possible.
And on the softball, give them the go-ahead too, or no? That's an annual thing too. Well, we'll get it all together when we meet, then we'll bring it back.
How about the motion say to activate the powwow committee for one meeting to bring a proposed budget for a one-day powwow and one-day softball tournament?
Yep.
Floor is open.
We'll move.
Motion by Buffalo Lake. Second by Haipa. Question by all agency.
Louis Johnson, Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Yes.
Milton Owen, Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Lisa Jackson,
yes.
Tribal Secretary, Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. Next I got is contracts with Mike.
before we begin with the contracts, at the last roundtable, we discussed doing a timeline. So if you guys can pull up this sheet. I actually emailed this 2 days ago, also to your emails, but what it does is it gives you a snapshot from June until August of 2021 of all the, well, actually, it's just the 4 different funds for the projects that we're currently working on. So first up is going to be the 2 that we're talking about with HKG and with CBJ Producers, is the temp healthcare facility and the police station / justice center / temp jail. So those 2 are funded by the CRF. The next one down is the BI grant funded 25-bed jail. And it gives some of the numbers there. And then we got, which we'll talk about later, is the USDA funded. And the SWO funded we're not talking about today. But so that we'll just go in that order, okay? First up is the treatment center, health facility.
Sure. I'll start and kind of give you an update on what we've been working on the last week to get us to the point we are today, which I think we're going to ask today that you would approve awarding a contract for construction, but we want to go through the process. So what we did is we reached out to 4 different contractors who do this kind of contract work. Last week we ended up interviewing 2 contractors, Gray Construction out of Watertown and Consolidated out of Bismarck, and sat down and explained the timelines, the building, and let them look at it, and interviewed them. And we have a recommendation today, but right now they both are in contention for the sole source construction contract. And I think I was really impressed with both of those interviews, but I think Consolidated is capable of doing this project within the timelines, which is really important. So I think the project is moving ahead very quickly, and I'm going to turn it over to Dean to talk about actually the first steps of what it takes to get the construction on site started.
Like Bruce has talked about, we talked to 2 contractors. Consolidated, we worked with in Cannonball. They did for Standing Rock, did the school there. So if there's anybody wants to talk, Justin Fryer, he is the superintendent of schools at Cannonball. They did a good job there. One of the reasons why we picked, I guess, what I think Mike and Bruce are recommending, Consolidated, they have worked with the Terrell department. I met with Terrell, with Delray this morning, dropped off all the information. They also have in place, they're a bigger company, so they have people that only do contracts, so they'll be doing the bidding and getting information to this council. If you look at both the schedule and the page after that I handed out, I've been working with these guys. We met with them on Monday or Tuesday, and giving both of them information, but Consolidated really stepped up to the plate. They have 5 projects they've worked on similar to this, and you can see the numbers down there that their estimated costs or their square foot costs are in the 175 basically to the 150. And we're right now at preliminary numbers at 220. They feel that they're going to be better than the number we've got out there, at or under. So anytime you do a cost plus, the risk is on the owner. And to me, as this is their first step, it kind of relieves some of the tension that we are going to, in fact, make that budget or better. Now, one of the things that we've been dealing with is the schedule. And if you look at their schedule, they're saying that the one wing and the commons will be substantially complete by the first of the year. It's very aggressive. One of those things that helps us is that we already have those walls made for that wing. The problem is we got walls made for a lot of 2 bedrooms that we're not going to be using, so there's going to be more framing on the second wing. But they are going to, by March, the whole thing will be completed, and that's really an aggressive schedule. But by doing that, with the aggressive schedule and still with their preliminary numbers, being at or under budget, we can come to this board and with some type of assurance saying that this is going to work for us. And what it does, it takes pressure off of you because this is a high profile. We really want this to be successful from all points of view, that this council is not bombarded with one question or another. They will be meeting with Taro every 2 weeks, and that's what their process is. We had no problems at Standing Rock whatsoever with the Taro department. So that's the assurance that I needed, and that's why I kind of lean more towards consolidated, because we need to work as a team. That's not your job, and we won't, that you have to deal with headaches. So we want this to be the first one. They're very interested in doing the law enforcement center also in the jail, and they want to prove to you, so that puts the pressure on them. So with that, you see, so we had the schedule, which they are. We're on schedule right now. I brought you drawings we've got the drawings up to date. They went out to our structural. Structural will have the footings and foundation by next Friday. So we are right on schedule. We've got a lot committed to this. We want this to be good. So our people are working to get this done. So they're right now, this time frame is at or better. Like they would like to start, if they can, scraping site and things before the 4th of July. So in the next couple of weeks. So if you approve their contract today, I will be writing that up for a signature by the vice chair for them to move forward. So we can start getting these people under contract, getting proposals for M&E, and we'll start filling in the gaps and find out what those numbers are, because these will be contract numbers, and all those numbers will be shared with the council. So there's no, this is full transparency, so the numbers will be there. Our risk, which we want to minimize to this with the council, is the cost plus. So that we don't come in at 8 million or something like that. That we're saying that we're going to be at that 6 million is what they're proposing and meeting that. And then the other thing I handed out, working with them, they sent me this yesterday, which was assisted living that they've done that addressed the COVID-19. That has that, if you look down the fifth and sixth paragraph, they talk about the positive airflow in the rooms, and it can be turned off and on. So as we move forward, that we don't need that for if we go to behavioral health, we can modify this plan to work. So it's just costs. We're going to do the basic system. They've done it, and so we're not recreating the wheel here, because there's not a lot of information out there. We're kind of with this COVID-19 about the requirements, but they have done this for assisted living, and that is, with the elderly, that the assisted living is where a lot of those deaths have occurred nationwide. So we feel we got a handle on this. So we're prepared to come back to this council. And one of the other things we think we're going to do is what we've been doing, and we're going to be handing out to the council people a laptop, and that will be given to you so that you can at any time. So what Milton said, we're not going to be handing out a ream of paper every time, so this will be the last time. After that, we'll have laptops, and it'll be programmed with what they call submittal exchange, so you can look at the progress of the pay requests, so we don't have to hand those out. So Milton, I didn't want to say that then, but that's what we're going to be getting to this council. It's just, in the long run, it's an expense to us, but we feel it keeps everybody informed better. So we're getting a heck of a deal. We've been doing those. So that's what we're going to do, so that everybody can, at any time, can have access to what's going on in this project. It is absolutely the way to go. And as we move into the law enforcement center, there's a lot more unknowns there, and that's where we'll start. Like with Bruce, filling in those O&M issues, meeting with the chief in order to get the plan down, and then working with IDS in order to fill up any gaps that we got. So that's kind of overview of what we're doing. We've been, if you look at the drawings, in a week and a half, we've put in some time to get this to go. We want to get going with this. And if we in fact are building in July, then we will make that December 31st date for you.
We've been working.
We are trying,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, the one, if you look at the drawings on the last 2 pages, which is the commons, that is, those drawings aren't up to date, or I didn't have them. It's still the old commons. We're gonna kind of go with more of a flat roof, a 1 in 12 pitch, because it's a bigger space than what we had originally. So we're still redesigning that, but the wings are done, and we're just simplified it so we can get in and get this going, so. And the only thing in there, I would say that we still have, unless we haven't gotten notified, we still have in that budget, we still have the excise tax. And it's my understanding you made a resolution but I didn't have that information at the time. We do have Taro in there, which we are going to continue with, but we will not, that excise tax, so we have that 120-some thousand will go into the contingency to be used if something comes up or we want to change something. So we are staying at our budget. Right now, we feel that we're committed to that budget and under. So it'd be nice to come back here on December 31st and say that we're $400,000 under budget, which would be a first, you know, for a lot of projects, so.
Thank you. Council, is there any questions? Long Hollow?
So your projected start date is July 1?
He's got July 6th there.
July 6th? Okay.
Yeah, as far as moving. We can do better on that, but, you know, first of all, if we do sign a contract, it's going to take, you know, like a week or so to get insurances, their bonding and stuff in place. So we really can't start doing that until we get that taken care of. So we're at least a week to 10 days away right as we sit now, because I could get a contract, and if it's approved, I will get it to Michael, who will submit it to the vice chair for signature.
Mr. Vice Chairman, did you have a chance to forward the 4 contracts to the tribal council? Oh, okay.
Sorry. There's 4 contracts. You wanna go through them, Mike?
Yep, I can. So for the 2 projects, there's two contracts each that we wanted to get approved today. One for each. HKG and CBJ is the project manager for the temp hospital. And we took the numbers from the original of this law enforcement, the numbers that they had for the cost plus. So on the compensation for the HKG, it'll be $297 with the civil engineering is billed separate with a probable cost of $650 for that. And that's for HKG, and for the project management, it's a flat fee of $4,000 a month per project. So, and then on the jail, the architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical is going to be $485 plus, you know, expenses. Civil engineering about $361. And they're all been reviewed by legal. We wrote everything in an AIA format, so everything is consistent. We do have our protections in there, sovereign immunity, and there's no third-party arbitration or anything. So they are ready to go if you're in agreement to get them started. Just need a motion to accept and then allow the vice chairman to sign them.
You wanna do them one by one?
You can go by project. So for the COVID housing facility, it'd be the contract with HKG, and then for CBJ producers to proceed with construction.
Floor is open.
So moved, Vice Chairman.
Motion by Bikuli. Second by Buffalo Lake. Question by Tokunowa.
Lisa Jackson,
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr., Milton Owen, Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary, Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, and that will be with signature authority? Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
And then the next one will be with, for the law enforcement center,
Law Enforcement Center, yes.
HKG and Bruce Jones.
CBJ producers.
Yeah. Floor is open.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Big Cooley, second by Tokanawa, question by all agency.
Yes.
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Yes.
Milton Owen, Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Is that it?
For those two, I do have a recommendation, kind of like for managing the projects, we're going to use the AIA structured payment system. It's a progress payment system, so you have these AIA forms that the subs and the general and everybody fill out. I want to recommend that we set up an escrow account, which is a separate account at Dakota Bank for each of them. And usually the signature is the chairman or the vice chairman and the CFO. So every month, there'll be one payment that goes out, all the subs and the general and the architect and everyone will get their bills in and everything be paid out of that one account. So we have a full accounting at the end of the year of the total costs. It's a great way to manage construction projects.
Do you need,
And then Greg and I can work with Greg, but I'm sure Greg knows how to set those up. And then we can get all the paperwork done. Yeah, we'll have to have one for each construction project, one for the Justice Center, and then an escrow account for the COVID housing project.
Okay. Motion by Haifa, second by Big Cooley, question by Tokanawa.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Yes.
Milton Owen, Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Lisa Jackson, Louis Johnson, Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. Anything else?
One more. On the consolidated contract, if we could get a motion to draft a contract, and I can have it legal reviewed and brought back for signature early next week. It's going to take us about a week to get it all drafted correctly. Yes. Yep, to get started on the housing project.
Do we need a motion?
I keep wanting to call it a treatment center, but it's a housing project.
What would the motion, negotiate a contract? How do you need the motion to be?
Yeah, the contract will be a cost plus, and it has which we've already presented, and for the deleting the architecture and the excise tax, if that is out of there, and we'll just have the tarot in there, and we'll also, the contingency will be approved by this council. They don't, anytime we have a change order, and we didn't have a lot in Cannonball, so any changes will be directed by this council, so you wouldn't have to have additional money, but that would be associated costs.
And so the actual contract itself is driven by a budget, and so the budget is described within the contract, and then any draws to the contractor are documented by cost. And so the contract itself is an AI contract that other organizations use, and so it's really driven by that budget. So we'll have an amount within the budget that goes into the contract. And we can get that here to calculate that this morning and edit it without the excise tax. If that was,
You guys just want to work on that and then we'll meet on it? Yep, for approval. Yep.
okay.
Do you,
To accept consolidated contract.
Oh.
Then we'll draft a contract and bring it back for approval.
a motion to develop a contract with, who was it?
Consolidated Construction Company.
Okay. Motion by Haipa. Oh, agency, question by Buffalo, or Biculi.
Okay, so the motion is just gonna be to, select them for the project and then you guys will draft the contract?
Yep.
Okay. Winfield Rondell Jr.?
Yes.
Milton Owen?
Yes.
Cheryl Owen? Lisa Jackson? Louis Johnson? Curtis Bissonette? Travel Secretary? Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. And then, Mike, while I got you there, can I get a motion? I don't know if you want to explain what this grant is that we're going to submit for? CARES Act Recovery Assistance Supplemental Financial Award for $150,000 for that. Looks like the funding is from EDA.
Oh, yeah. We can get a motion. It just said a letter from the chairman. They usually do a resolution for this stuff, but it's a non-competitive grant for the EDA. It's a CARES Act EDA grant for $150,000 to do COVID-related planning for the future.
I just need a motion for signature authority. Motion by Haipa,
Question.
second by Tokanawa, question by Biculi.
Winfield Rondell Jr.? Yes. Milton Owen? Yes. Cheryl Owen?
Yes.
Lisa Jackson?
Yes.
Louis Johnson? Curtis Bissonette?
Yes.
Travel Secretary? Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
I just have a couple more housekeeping items. First is on the timeline. The third one is the USDA funded. I need a motion to support us applying for a search grant with USDA under LTUC for $25,000. It's for a preliminary engineering report for a USDA water and sewer grant. What it's going to be used for is for doing the preliminary engineering report so that we could figure out how much it's going to cost, and then we'll apply for the grant itself to pay for it. But it's to do a dedicated main water line to this building and to the new jail, because as it sits, if we keep the water and add it to the current line, which is also in line with the rest of Agency Village, so we're going to take them off of the housing line, we won't have enough water suppression, fire suppression pressure if we keep it the current system the way it is. So that's what this is for.
Okay.
Second. Question.
Motion by Travel Secretary, second by Haipa, question by Tokanawa. Is this for both of them, Mike, or just the first one?
Just the first one for the $25,000 for the search grant for a PER.
Apply for the USDA search grant.
Yes.
Travel Secretary? Curtis Bissonette?
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.? Yes. Milton Owen? Yes. Cheryl Owen?
Yes.
Lisa Jackson?
Yes.
Louis Johnson? Mr. Vice Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you. And then you need a motion for the USDA water and sewer grant?
That was the one we just did.
That was the one.
Yep. The other one's coming. That's down the road. We need the PER first before we can apply for it. I'll come back when that's ready.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be about 4 months or so.
Anything else?
Yep. I handed out the report and the invoice from Whiffley, and they numbered them on the different projects they were working on. First one is a Paycheck Protection Program. 2 is a CRF and ATG, and the third is a Dakota Crossing financial statements. And they did a report. I think it's a 5-page report. They outlined their next steps, and then the invoice is attached for the dates, and they broke it down by each project. So we discussed this a few weeks ago, is that we should probably take the up to limit off of the original motion, because the original motion was only talking about the PPP funds, and we've expanded beyond that now to the CRF and the ATG.
What's that look like, Mike? What's that look like, the paper?
Sorry. It's like this. It's not highlighted. I just highlighted yellow. It says, Honorable Tribal Council, June 4th, 2020, report on whip fleet services provided to tribe. So Steve Gunn is working on his. It's in process. He's doing a detailed report as well and going to be submitting his invoice. So basically it breaks down for the PPP from April 24th to May 28th is 26,000. ATG, the visit with Greg was 900. Dakota Crossing, they're at 13,000. The CRF and ATG and all those meetings is 11,830. And then they have reimbursables. All their travel expenses and copying was about $4,000. So their invoice is a total of 56,000 for all of those. The two motions were added after the first initial one from April 1st to expand to the ATG and the CRF. So that's why it's going to be a little bit more than the original amount that we had talked about, because the first one, we did add an addendum based on the post motions, but we didn't raise their up to limit or up to 25,000, I think is the cap that we put on it, because we didn't know CRF, all that stuff wasn't coming yet. It was in the works, but we didn't know how much they were going to be getting, and so we just kind of guessed at how much up to our spending limit would be. Same with Steve Gunn, we limit him to $7,500 a month, and I think he's probably put in a lot more time than that. So,
Floor is open to approve the payment for the Whitley invoice.
So are we gonna approve that, or are we gonna remove the up to?
I-
How do we wanna do that? Mr. Vice Chair?
Oh, you mean the cap per month, you mean? Are they still doing work for us?
yes. Yeah, our PPP time is coming up on the 26th. I know that they relaxed so in this, it talks about these two little bar graphs. It talks about the illustrative budget for the original guidance versus the new guidance that came out on the PPP just this past week. So it kind of changes the things, but we're still on track to be finished with our PPP for all the programs around June 26th.
What was our ceiling per month in the contract?
25,000 for whip fleets, 7,500 for gun, and we never did get the contract done for the 2,500 for Mark Van Norman.
Okay. I think if we don't plan on them going over the 25 again, do we?
I don't think we have, no. But for the PPP, that is. The other ones didn't have a budget on them, so that's probably just fine if you break it down for the categories. There was one more thing that wasn't included. So in the budget we have for spending the CRF for the compliance and the attorneys and everything, there's a budget, right? A little over 200,000 for that. So I'll make sure and do a report, make sure that we're on track to stay within that and keep everybody informed. There's one thing that wasn't mentioned before, and this is probably because the chairman didn't bring it up, but my overtime, I'm hourly, and I've been logging in a ton of hours with these guys, is supposed to be coming out of that as well. So we'll make a reimbursement request because it's being paid out of ATG right now, out of our normal contract. So I'll just do a reimbursement from the CRF, a request for that, for my overtime to come out of the compliance part.
Yeah, that'll be accountable with funding too. That'll just become accountable for the funding too.
Yep, it'll come out of the compliance budget. So I'll add that in there as well. And I think that's it. Any questions?
We
Okay.
just need a motion to approve this cost here as presented.
The 56? Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Winfield Ondell Jr.
Yes.
Milton Owen. Cheryl Owen. Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Did you guys want an update on the jail project? Because we've been having discussions with Van Norman.
Can we get his contract done? Because he's put in work into this too, and I think he needs to.
Van Norman?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been slacking. I've been asking him for I need a copy of his original contract because the way it was worded was an addendum to his original, and he hasn't sent me a copy, and we don't have one. So I've been on him to do that. It's $2,500. So, but it'd be nice to get him paid too. I'll draft it. I'll get on him again and draft that one. Did you want to?
I think we meet next week anyways, Mike, don't we?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Friday. Yeah, they're going to be here on Friday. The folks from the BI in Aberdeen, Patricia,
And IDS.
and IDSA is going to be here, Jan, and one more person. So, they're-
Mike, I know I said I was gonna set up that meeting, but you got everybody's contact information, right?
I can't.
On that email, I said once everybody concurred, I was gonna set up the meeting. With the Mark Van Norman one that he sent out, but I don't have everybody's contact information. Can you just go ahead and set that meeting up for?
For next Friday?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Okay.
can do that. Yep.
Thank you.
Did you want to talk about the? So
That's good. Right.
we can cover Friday. We're good. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Vice,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we realized, but from our last REB meeting, we scheduled to meet with them today at 10, and I guess we might have our wires crossed, and just so that we know that they're here, do we want to reschedule a meeting with them to go over their plan? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Cliff has some quick ones. We'll get done with him.
They're not on the agenda, I just didn't know if we were overlooking them. Yeah.
Okay. Cliff? Okay. And then after that, we'll do REB.
I don't mean to interrupt your schedule,
Oh,
but
it's
I
okay.
just,
Yeah. Morning, Council. Thank you for your time today. I did do a cover sheet for my action items here for the SWO DOT. The Barker Hill Phase 2 modifications. So we have a change order number 1 for the site work in the amount of $67.50 for additional unclassified excavation, changes made in the field and approved by the site engineer. We have change order number 1 for the streets. It was $1,000 used for grouting storm sewer inlet. And then we have the pay requests for contractor payments on the work completed. So motion number 1 would be to approve the Tribal Transportation Program TTP funded modification for work completed on site work and streets portion of the Barker Hill Phase 2 housing project, and pay requests for contractors' work completed and acting tribal chairman signature authority.
Okay, motion by All Agency,
Second.
second by Long Hollow. Question by Tokunawa.
Yes. Cheryl Owen?
yes.
Louis Johnson?
Yes.
Curtis Bissonnette?
Yes.
Linfield Rondell Jr.? Steve? Tribal Secretary? Mr. Vice Chairman?
Thank you.
And then number 2, we have the reference funding agreement, the Sistan-Waptanoyate working through the government-to-government agreement with BIA, which is supported by Tribal Council Resolution number SWO 16-033 and amended to the Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act, which references the RFAs. So motion number 2 would be to approve the acting tribal chairman signature authority for the FY 2020 reference funding agreement amendment number 1.
Motion by all agency. Second by Tokunwa. Question by Long Hollow.
Milton Owen. Yes. Cheryl Owen.
Yes.
Lisa Jackson.
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonette.
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr. Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it. That's good. Those are my action items, so,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. You have a great day. Thank you, council.
REB?
We put our draft on your desks. Number 2, the actions for the elections, and then the second bullet under there, under the illness and hospitalization, we put in there that REB recognizes that COVID-19 may fall under illness or hospitalized category and will be an allowable reason for requesting an absentee ballot. So we added that. The last sentence, we added that we would have a list of notaries for the absentee ballots, and then they can send it back to us. The third part, we added, when they disinfect surfaces, we added that bullet where, that we would possibly ask the districts to close for that one day before, so that everything is clean and disinfected and nobody else goes in there before REB starts the next day. And then we added the last 2. We added where there would be no food allowed at any districts and no food served here when we do the tabulation. And then we added that candidates and their close family members will be allowed in the admin building when the tabulation of ballots, and then the next 2 bullets. Limit the number of tables and chairs at each table. And then maybe that we would set up just a little bit farther apart. I think that was everything that we talked about last week.
Tribal Secretary?
I just had a question. As far as the pens go that they use to mark their ballot, are they going to be able to take those pens and then there's a new pen available to the next voter? Or how is that going to work?
Let's see here.
We would probably
Hand sanitizer.
give Clorox wipes to the DEB, so every time that they would come back, they would put gloves on and grab them and wipe them off and sanitize them every time. So I think we'll try to have at least probably like between 7 and 10 there, so then, you know, that will go at the back of the thing, so it gives it time to dry, and but we'll provide DEB with some wipes or some sanitizer to wipe them off in order to, so they, after every use.
And that's under the first bullet and under purpose.
Aipa?
Madam Secretary, I remember when they started that stuff out with IHS, they were giving you that pen. I wonder if they have all boxes of the pens that they could give us so that we could use.
Can they use pens or does it have to be a marker?
It's a marker, and then we get those supplies from AES. So they give us a little handful for each, and it's in each bin. So that's what we get from them. So that's the marker that we use. It's not a regular pen.
It's like a watermark pen.
Yeah.
It's for the machine to read. It's a special pen. But we can ask to increase on the order of it. And we really haven't connected with AES yet. I don't know if we have the wrong email, we're trying to get his phone number and get a response, and as soon as we get that conversation and we get them stats into place and stuff like that, we will probably ask for another roundtable in order to brief you guys on how we're gonna move forward with that.
All right. Looks
Any other
good.
questions, council? Thank you, REB.
Not ready. No,
Is this ready?
no, because we still got.
Yeah, until we meet with ADS, yeah, that's pretty much just gonna be the standard. Yeah.
Yep. I can just take that off, yep.
Okay.
No, because it's not, you didn't meet with your vendor, right?
Yeah.
No, we
So
didn't meet with them.
They're gonna keep updating us as they revise it, and when we get to our resting place, then you'll move us for approval.
Yep.
Okay.
Tom? We'll let you set that up. Thank you.
Thank you.
But out.
Okay. Let's see. I handed out some budget approvals that we need. It's for the elderly nutrition. All of them are grants. Title 3C for fiscal year 2021. Child protection, Title 4E state for fiscal 21. OEP water resource grant for 2020. And the EMS rural tribal response COVID-19 for $299,000. Floor is open to approve these.
Federal funding?
Motion by Haipa. Oh, Long Hollow.
No match.
Second by Will Agency.
These are all federal dollars, right?
Yep.
Question?
Question by Bikuli.
Milton Owen,
Yes.
Cheryl Owen,
Yes.
Lisa Jackson,
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Tribal Secretary. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, and then, there's a refrigerated trailer. And, we can get it with the CARES Act, and we're hoping to use that. It's owned by, Jerry Anderson. And all he did was use it to haul his stuff when he moved back, but there's a refrigeration there. And we'd like to purchase it for Dakota Connection, but until the COVID is over, the tribe will be using it to deliver the milk and eggs. So it stays cold. The purchase price is $4,000, and it would be from the CARES Act.
This one?
Okay, motion by all agency.
Is this one, Mr. Vice Chairman? Where's our?
No, I can just, it's on the, agenda.
Or his letter of request? Is that the letter of request?
Yes.
How big is the trailer?
Second by Haipa.
And it's,
Question by Long Hollow. It'd be Patrick Adams.
Yeah. Okay. Milton Owen,
Yes.
No hand up.
Cheryl Owen,
Yeah.
Lisa Jackson,
Abstain.
Louis Johnson, Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Yes.
Travel Secretary, Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay. Remember there's a freeze on, gaming funds? I'd like a motion to where we can pay our legal fees, which would be our public defender and, Paulson and Nielsen. And then, any, how do you say it? I guess just day-to-day operation spending. It would come from the stuff that we're usually paid for with gaming. We haven't been paying, so we need to catch up on some bills, would be like our phones, our taxes, our legal, and stuff that, program takes on top of these as well. I guess the motion would be, Verlin, just to, it's okay to, pay day-to-day operation bills?
Government operation?
Yep.
I didn't realize we weren't doing that.
Yeah, I've been holding off just, but I didn't think, as long as I could, but we need to start paying them. When was that memo made? 2 months ago? Spending freeze?
Yeah, but I didn't realize it's not their central government, because we're essential. I didn't realize that stopped.
Anything with
I
gaming,
just thought
it was,
anything that was non-essential.
yeah, it was anything with gaming, tax, and lease.
So do we have money to pay for that? Where are we covering that cost now?
Yeah, I think the last time, I talked to Greg, there was 290,000 left.
And that's in our gaming reserve?
Yeah.
That's all.
Floor is open for motion. I can hand you guys out daily reports too. Motion by Long Hollow. Second by all agency. Is there a question? No question. Question by secretary.
Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Winfield Rondell Jr.,
Steve?
Milton Owen,
Yes.
Cheryl Owen,
On abstain.
sorry, was that abstention?
Abstain? Not sure.
Lisa Jackson,
Abstain.
Louis Johnson, Travel Secretary, Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you. And then last that we have is education.
I'm trying to find the document. Do you have it? I sent it to everybody. Okay. It's for school supplies. It's over 5,000. It's out of Wiyuk Chakai Chupi. I'm anticipating that we're going to have to order these supplies, pass them out, and then turn around and order a second set, but it's out of their funding. I'm starting to finally get the school plans for what they're doing, and it's atrocious out there. Some of the things that they're trying to figure out how to do and how to do safe distances, and we all know now, and we've got the documented proof that any distance learning for most of our families has been a big failure, and just trying to figure it out right now. Head Start's the other one that I'm trying to work on, and I set up a meeting with them next week, and then I need to meet with the secretary on Head Start today. So, but if you could approve this is the last year of our Wiyuk Chakai Chupi funding, and so you'll see different things coming through like this.
Motion by Long Hollow, second by All Agency. Question by Tokunawa.
Curtis Bissonette. Yes. Winfield Rondell Jr. Stay. Milton Owen. Yes. Cheryl Owen.
Yes.
Lisa Jackson.
Yes.
Louis Johnson. Yes. Tribal Secretary. Yes. Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, is there any other issues or questions we need?
Not from education, but do you have any for me?
Tribal Secretary?
I'm wondering about Tioshbazina graduation, what the plans are. I haven't seen anything yet from them.
Okay, it's, I don't know why they don't put anything out, because they actually do have some plans. It's going to be Saturday the 20th, and I'm not sure of what time it is, but there's still plans of having the families out on the football fields and keeping them separate, and then doing, putting the stage up out there too with the teepees, and, or I don't know if they'll do the stage, but the teepees and everything around there. So that still is happening. And I don't know if they have made a decision about limiting, because when they provided me with comments about it, they were going to limit it to the public. But now I don't know, with the football stands and everything, maybe they can let people come in a little bit more than just the families. They're limiting it to 10 people of the families on the field. So that's how they're doing that part of it. So I don't know about the stands. That's about all I have on that. I don't have the time. I haven't heard.
Tom?
Tom?
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Anything else? Bikuli? Oh, okay. Anything else for education? Okay. Thank you, Sherry.
Padama.
Bikuli?
I was wondering, okay, so we had the chairman and the secretary working with our IHS stuff. Can we schedule a roundtable so we can see where we're at with that? And pick that back up.
Anything else? Okay. If you guys you're invited. Did we do Leah? I can't remember if we did your, what was it that you needed?
Just approval to sign the letter to Samsung. So she did me as a principal investigator.
Then I was gonna say, I have a meeting with DCA at 1. We're doing it in the training room. If you guys want to come, they just wanted to update with the projects and some expenditures. Sunny's working out a template. I can send that to you if you don't show up too. At 1? Yep. Leah?
Hi. This is a letter to SAMHSA, just putting me in charge of the Native Connections grant so I can upload a budget that I've been trying to get uploaded for some time. And the signing official is the chairman, so I switched the letter to the vice chairman and then put acting tribal chairman. So I just need approval for him to sign it. It's a letter to SAMHSA, and it's official letter removing Gail Mason as the principal investigator, project director, and putting me as the principal investigator, project director. When I first spoke to Michelle Carnes, our federal project officer, she said, we'll just leave it as it is until you hire a new project director. Well, we haven't been able to do that, so I just need to get access to ERA Commons to upload the budget. And it's a lot of paperwork to do that for SAMHSA.
Motion by secretary.
I just had a question.
Oh, question by Bikuli.
Were there any type of standards or qualifications, I should say, that was required for Dr. Mason to hold that responsibility? You know what I mean?
They approve it. They do the approval.
So, okay.
So, as the tribal health director, they will approve me as the project director, but not as the Native Connections director, which requires a LPCMH.
But we're not doing that. We're just asking for.
This is more administrative.
Okay, gotcha. I'll second.
Second by Bikuli. Question by Tokanawa.
Tribal Secretary? Curtis Bissonette? Winfield Rondell Jr.? Milton Owen? Cheryl Owen?
Yes.
Lisa Jackson? Louis Johnson? Mr. Vice Chairman, the motion passed.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Haipa. Second by Bikuli. We're adjourned.